limitations and so forth. Welcome to No Platitudes. My name's Peter Lundholm. I'm just some guy. Just a fucking guy. How you doing? You alright? Haven't talked to you in a while. It's only been about, 10 months since I've done one of these. Because of the fucking digital recording. That's why I hate this shit. I fucking hate it. There's too many buttons and inputs, and if it was up to me, I'd record this fucking thing on tape. On a Tascam 4-track recorder. Not even an 8-track, a 4-track. For the love of God. Yeah, so I quit vaping. I'm on nicotine lozenges now, just like Mark Maron. God bless him. I don't really have anything new to report. There's a podcast, talk to local artists and entrepreneurs and whatnot. This is only the second episode, and it was only a matter of time. I figured I'd get it out of the way early. Have somebody from the wrestling business on. It's my buddy Dave, who I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised that he is now in the wrestling business. He's a promoter. He referees. He does a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. He's an awesome guy. It's funny, like I tried to keep this very like general interest and try to contextualize, wrestling as just like a subculture, creative thing, and not being so specific with the insider terminology or name drops that maybe a non-wrestling fan wouldn't recognize, wouldn't pop for. And so yeah, other than that, I guess I got nothing. I started playing gigs again. I took some time off. Took like 5 months off. So I'm back at it. If you need a drummer, holler at your boy. I've been practicing a lot. I thought I was going to like come out here and explode out of the gate with a bunch of like cool shit to say, but there's not anything. Just trying to get through the winter, stay the course. I'm on antidepressants now, so that's pretty cool. I'm not ashamed, fuck it. I'm on Lexapro. It's pretty good. For this much time away from the podcast, I have no real news. I'm working on some films. I got one coming out in May, and then my sister and I are writing one. And I got there's some gigs slowly sprouting up. First Fridays at Teddy O'Brien's with Carrie, who was the first guest on this podcast. The most recent guest, the first and most recent, last July. And here we are. We're at that requisite time at the beginning of the show where I start to think, why am I doing this? So fucking delusional. I hate the sound of my voice. I hate this equipment. I hate pretending. Here's the thing. Taking time off and everything. There was another second guest. And I don't want to say his name because he's an awesome fucking guest. And we're going to do it again. And maybe even the one that we recorded, I will someday post as a, lost media or something. But I realized in the course of talking to this individual that, I'm on this thing and I'm pretending like I'm not nervous, or I'm pretending like I too do a thing on a high level like you do. And that's not, I really don't. That's not true. I'm not on some self-deprecation thing because my therapist says that that's damaging to me. But what I'm saying is like I think it serves the interview better for me to not pretend like I fucking am, I'm a well-traveled, artist and artisan, and I'm not intimidated or impressed or threatened by people who like are really doing the thing. No, I am. I am reverent, and I am avuncular. Jesus. I think you know what I'm trying to say. So, I'm sharpening the skills. We're going to go through this together just like I said we were back in July of 2022. Doing it more consistently. I got more interview subjects that I'm working on getting over here because I will only do face-to-face. None of this video conference shit, Skype, or whatever. So let's keep doing it. Let's stay at it. Come with me on this journey. Maybe I'll get better. Maybe I will become somewhat bearable to you and to myself with some practice. So let's do it. Let's go there. This week we got Dave Kleber on. He's in the wrestling business from top to bottom. He's done it all. Referee, manager, and now a promoter. He's promoting a big card in Wisconsin on March 18th. And we got into it. We talked deep about the Midwest scene and the culture and, his progress, through the starting off from training. He hasn't been in it that long, but he's been a lot of places already. So he's an awesome guy. And so let's do it. Here it comes right now, my conversation with Dave Kleber.
This is how Andy does it too. Like we just talk.
You just have to fizzle into it. Yeah.
It just fizzle in.
I like that guy. Do we get him on here sometime?
Absolutely.
Do you think he would come in?
He might have to be an over-the-air kind of guy.
I can't do over the air.
I know.
I need face-to-face. That's why I made you come here.
I'm totally down. I'm a traveler.
Yeah, you are a traveler, man. What are you doing?
What? I mean,
you're promoting wrestling now.
I've never liked to get a label, right?
I know. You avoid them like impending death.
You call me a referee, and I go, well, actually, I've got a little bit more than just that in my pocket.
Well, that's how you started, though, right?
No, technically, it's not.
What was the first thing in wrestling that you did?
So the very first wrestling thing that I did when I was training to be a manager. So that was where
training at Premier Pro Wrestling.
Training at Premier Pro Wrestling. Okay. That was the initial, gig. Getting in there, trying to be a manager. So a lot of the stuff that I was learning about was the behind the scenes with like cameras and stuff, and audio stuff, and staging and stuff. And I remember thinking early on, like, "Hey, you're using me for all this? Like just using me as a hand." And then when we started doing the training stuff, it's like, cool. So now you know where the camera is. You know where the mics are. You know where everyone on stage is. Where do you think you need to be? Hey, this is how the match is going. How are you going to enhance that? So it was like the little building blocks of everything. It was so freaking cool. But yeah, it was technically as a manager before it was as a referee.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I should know that, but I don't.
It was so brief. I don't think I managed a match on TV. Or on taping, I should say, not TV. We never made TV. But yeah, that was the whole goal of everything.
You did internet TV. They had a nice little show for a while on YouTube.
Yeah, that was part of me and Andy's, whole thing was to make that happen. Andy is the guy with all that stuff. But yeah, that was the original thing, was as manager.
Far out. So who are your influences as a manager?
I mean, Heenan. Just Heenan.
Yeah.
I was just looking at Heenan going like, man, I just want to do everything that guy does.
He's funny.
He was just so perfect.
Well, you know this about me, that I'm weird about talking about wrestling insider stuff with people that are insiders.
Yeah.
And you are now an insider. So, like, you've seen me when I meet wrestlers. I do not break from anything. If they're a heel, I give them shit. Shout out to Shane Hagedorn, if you're listening. He hated me, but like in a good way.
Right.
But now that you're an insider, I mean, did you ever think, like, 15 years ago when you and I were, like, bullshitting about ECW and working at GameStop and talking about wrestling, that you would actually be in the business?
No, I never thought that, because if you know me, I'm a character, but I'm a lot to deal with, just in every facet of things.
No comment.
And I never thought that like it would be like a hobby, right? Like I always thought if you did it, you go full tilt, right? Like it's an everyday.
If you were going to do it, it was going to be the thing.
And when I trained, it was like when I did decide to do that, when you convinced me, like, hey, pull the trigger, idiot. Like you could do something cool here. Then it was full tilt. It was, every Wednesday, Saturday for God knows how long, constantly doing stuff, taking calls at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday when I'm sitting with my then girlfriend and, my boss is going, hey, I got an idea for a video.
This is Rockin' Randy?
This is Rockin' Randy. That he would just, hit me up with things constantly. So that was my life for, however long I was there. And so I didn't think I would have that commitment to it like I did. And now coming back to it, because, taking a few years off there, a lot of those lessons that I learned from there applied to so many places, even though it's so different. It's very different what they taught there versus everywhere else. And now it's kind of weird going in.
How so? Is it more old school?
Yes. And I think his way of teaching things was a great base. It's a great way of like building that like starter block to everything. Can you transition from that straight onto a television product? Absolutely. Would you be better if you left there and traveled a little bit and worked in a few different areas? 100%. And I think the Randy of 25, 30 years ago would absolutely agree with that statement. The one now, unfortunately, is a little bit more homegrown talent focused. Which is where kind of the differences ended up being. But a lot of these guys who came from there, they go other places, they work other people, and they're obviously they jump to the top of the list real quick because they learn a great base.
All right, fundamentals.
Yep,
I get it. What I was actually going to ask, but I got distracted, was how did it go from manager to then referee? Was it just they needed a ref and you were somebody who was already there?
Sort of. So during training, everybody referees, because you're right in there and you're learning everything, and it's the closest you can be to the action to learn. While people are doing practice matches, building things together, it's the place where you can learn to express and emote, which is very difficult for people new to the business to learn. I know people that it took them a year before they could yell at the top of their lungs. Like they get afraid of being loud. Loud not just vocally, but loud with their personality, with
right.
their movements and things like that. And refereeing is a way that you can learn those things on a smaller scale and start to build off of them. And then we got into a point where, okay, like, hey, we got a show, like we could use it as a referee to, start doing those things. And yeah, I started doing that. And then it lined up with all the other things that I was doing. And it didn't make sense for me to manage at that point. Like, I got away from that. I like doing like the post shows and stuff so I could still be myself. But it didn't line up with.
You mean like the little analysis at the table discussions? Those were amazing, dude. I used to look forward to those so much. It felt sporting, It made it feel kind of like sports.
And that's where it came from. That was the mentality. It was like,
not that it's not a sport, by the way. Wrestling's a fucking sport.
Right. And
Don't even get me started on that shit. That's not what I meant.
That's why I was like,
you were gonna let it fly. I had to acknowledge it. Sorry, carry on.
But yeah, that's absolutely the thing. We were trying to get across that it was, it wasn't just a performance. It was sporting. We were recapping what happened and things like that. We were trying to give it the air of competition, which is something that's lacking in a lot of products, right? I know initially when they did the whole AEW thing, it was like rankings are going to mean something, wins and losses are going to mean something.
I was into that.
I was full tilt, but then obviously they started.
Do they still put the win-loss record on the guy's name thing when they come out?
They do. And they keep dark records, which are just completely asinine to me because the whole dark show is ridiculous, and I hate that they waste that. But I know why they do it, and that irks me even more. But that being said, those post shows.
You're trying to get me to ask why they do it. Why do they do it, Dave? Just tell me really quick.
They want everybody to walk away saying, as seen on AEW Dark. They want, because talent there doesn't work talent from AEW. Talent on AEW Dark works talent that's coming in for tryout matches. Watch the show, because I watch it religiously. Like, that's on while I work. Like on my TV is the YouTube channel, and I watch every one of those episodes. And it's like one of the things where it's like, man, I could give a damn about 75% of this show, but like there's gonna be one cool match where one cool person's doing something unique or trying something different. So, but they want.
I think it's a waste.
I think they should have done something different with it. Yes, you have 2, 3, 4 hours of television time that you could be doing stuff with, and instead you're getting highlight material and giving a bunch of indie wrestlers the chance to say that they were on AEW television.
All right, I don't want this to turn into this kind of podcast.
Yeah, no, you direct the energy and I'll follow.
I know, I'm not directing the energy well. Because I like to sit around and, it's basically the foundation of our friendship is sitting around and bitching about wrestling.
Yes.
So I get it. I get the impulse to want to do that. But at this point, I'm just psyched for anybody who's got a gig in the business, and you've
Yep.
got gigs in the business. You fucking all right. So where were we? You started refereeing,
Yep.
and then you said you took time off. Why was that again?
So I was working at Premiere, but I had helped out during then at a JWA show up in Janesville because Andy was helping out with both. And they said, we need a referee. And so I went up there and refereed a match. I refereed Rough Crossing versus Yabo the Clown.
Love Rough Crossing. He's from DeKalb, isn't he?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he went to NIU.
That I don't know.
Pretty sure my brother told me he went to NIU with that guy, or maybe it was his tag team partner Tenderfoot.
Oh,
Remember that guy?
Who became Yabo the Clown, I believe.
Oh, I didn't. Jesus. Dude, I could talk obscure like Midwest dudes all day.
Yep.
Oh my God. Maybe this does have to become that kind of podcast.
This is where we're going. You know.
I want to do like the career retrospective with you, even though it's very early in your career. But I could just sit here and drop names. Who are some other things?
Dude, I mean, that's where do you go from there? I mean,
Like who's the way back dudes? Like I'm getting off course. Okay. JWA.
so I did the JWA show, and those were the two guys that were my first match there. I had a bunch of fun there doing all sorts of different things. And then I had a falling out with, with PPW. Just time I burnt out. Mm-hmm. I would wake up on Saturday morning at 6 a.m., play some video games just to de-stress before what was going to be the most stressful day of my life every week.
As in the day of a show?
Yep, every Saturday. And then would get to the venue between 10, 11, 12. Clean stuff, get stuff ready, go out, grab lunch, do some training with the new students who weren't on the show, get some music together, get some lights together, blah, 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 blah. Showtime happens, do the show, blah, 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 shoot promos afterwards, blah, 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 blah. Get to the
Because you were running the camera and everything too, weren't you?
Yep.
Like,
and then get to the place where we're eating, drop off, people afterwards, get home by like 2:30, start editing right then and there. Couldn't, had to let the momentum go, like get stuff uploaded, start editing, get that done by like 8 a.m., upload, hopefully wake up around 10:30, and have that footage sent over to whoever needed to get it by then. Tried.
be like a hype video at the
No, I'm talking like
afternoon,
the
like
promos. I'm talking the clips of the matches, like that stuff. We were on a system, and it was, Andy told me then, like, dude, you're gonna burn out. Like this isn't meant
getting
for
stressed just hearing about it.
And it was this killer. And trying to have a girlfriend at the time, trying to have a job at the time. These were things that suffered because this was my commitment. So I burnt out pretty hard.
Fuck, man, I'm not laughing at you. It's just like
I'm laughing at myself then.
Fuck.
Got into softball, started doing more competitive softball, and it was just like, you know what? If wrestling calls back out, I'll go back. And Andy was like, hey man, I'm going back. Why don't you come back?
When you were doing all that stuff, like during the day, like all the editing, all the show prep stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like a Saturday to Saturday schedule. I assume there's the show, and then there's everything in between, and then there's the next show. What the fuck? Like that's all your creative output, like just on this one thing.
Right. So I was working in a retail job. So mixed schedule, Sundays through Fridays. I asked for Saturdays off and reluctantly got it. So I'm working nights, days, not a 9 to 5. Wednesday practice, and I'm trying to get it's the South Park thing, 6 days to show. Like you get your stuff and boom, you got to go. You got to get all this stuff out there, and you're hoping that your creative influence can affect the product in a way that ticks that box when you're doing it.
Right.
But on, shows where it's not, where it's like, no, this is the direction we're going. Cool. And you're sitting there grinding away at something that you don't believe in. For that show, it starts to eat away at you, right?
Yeah.
So
it starts to feel like work too.
Right. Well, and it was. And it was paying dues, right? It was paying the dues into the business. And when you started to get that creative input, obviously early on you don't get as much because, who the hell are you? But then later on, when you start to get ideas and you're like, hey, let's do this and do that and stuff like that, it felt great. But then it felt even worse when your opinion was, crapped on, because it's like, oh, damn.
You can swear. Oh,
Yeah.
so I didn't know if you thought maybe it was.
I appreciate it. It's one of those things where you're never sure. You're never sure I was going to go. I'm so used to like live streaming, and it's like, all right, we get $2 an hour. All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Can we sidebar about your Twitch thing? Because I'm brand new to that.
Okay.
And frankly, when I first heard about people watch people play video games, like it's like a huge thing.
Insane.
I could not imagine it. And then I watched you and Devin, and I loved it. I'm like all on that shit now.
I was vehemently against it, because for the same reason. It's like you're not there with them, you're not playing against them, like you're just watching them do it, and it's not true, right? Like that's the stereotype per se, but really you should be interacting with people, you should be doing stuff that's funny. And me and Devin have a real unique way of doing things because we're a 2-man show. Usually it's just one person responding to chat and doing the games. And the way we've got it set up is, with 2 of us, one person's always talking about the chat and we're playing off of each other and we're constantly talking, which is the difficulty with a lot of people with Twitch. If you can't talk nonstop, Twitch isn't for you. Like doing it. And you know me, I can talk for hours. So
yeah, no, you guys are funny as fuck together. That shit is great to watch. I gotta stop with these sidebars.
With me, I'm gonna like I said,
you'll follow them all, but
I'm gonna go.
All right, so took a break after burnout at Premiere Pro, and then started making your way back in in Wisconsin.
Yep, and 2 times between this happening, I almost went back. One time, a wrestler who had also left convinced me, like, "Hey, let's go back for one show." And I was like, cool, let's go back for one show. And I was ready to go, and I was told I was not welcome in the building at the time. And I went, okay, guess that's a no, but didn't tell the wrestler. Wrestler went back and was like, where's Dave? I was like, oh, he's not welcome in the building. I was like, oh. So I felt bad about that. And then the second time, I was invited by someone who said, no, everything's cool now. And I was like, oh, let me go check things out. And I went there and shook hands, kissed babies, did the whole thing. And afterwards, bad feelings were still there by people, and I was like, all right, I guess this is it. So Andy brought me back in, years later, and yeah, back up at JWA.
Tell everybody about Andy really quick.
How do you describe Andy?
He trained at the same place as you did at Premiere.
Yep.
Wrestled there.
Yep.
Super good.
Yep.
Super entertaining.
Yep.
And then you guys got on the creative tip together.
Right.
You guys are doing pods. I assume he's down with the show and your show, right?
What do you mean?
The one coming up?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's. If I didn't have him, I don't know if I could do it.
We're gonna get to that.
We're gonna get to that. Sure. Yeah, but Andy is. What's unique about Andy is he's got such a creative mind and he has so many outlets for it, which is awesome. Like he's been super encouraging of me to do a lot of this stuff. But Andy's a technophile. He's like one of those guys that he's got all the awesome gadgets and things like that. Big podcaster. Does a lot of social media stuff. Like if you see Premier Pro Wrestling anywhere, he's the reason why. Like I'm sure that he hasn't been there in a while, but like the foundations of what they did with YouTube,
their online
with
presence,
everything. That was a lot of Andy, a lot. His blood, sweat, and tears went into a video that has 3.2 million views right now on YouTube.
What video is that?
An undisclosed match that I'll show you later. But God. We were just talking about it yesterday. It's 3.2 million views, and he's like, and that was part of what we built, And it's like, well, it's part of what you built. And he'll never say it, but that's Andy. And he comes to a performer. When it comes down to being a performer, he's like the guy that won't say no. I saw him be a dog. I saw him being a dancer. I saw him being a brawler. I've seen him be commissioner. Like the guy is just a bag of tools and just so fantastic to be a partner with. And yeah, it's been really cool to get to work with him.
We got to get him on here.
Yeah.
Okay, so
now we're back at JWA.
Yes, thank you. This is not going well. How am I doing, Dave?
You're doing great. As a guy who just talks all the time, like I'm feeling fantastic.
There's gonna be a lot of editing in this episode, I think.
I say put it out there vanilla, see how it goes. But if you want to edit,
I don't know, man. I don't know. All right, let's backpedal.
Sure.
You tried to go back for a return at Premiere.
Didn't happen.
Then what?
Then a year or so, I want to say, passed, and Andy talked to me about how he was going back to JWA to do more things, and I should go back. And I'm like, okay. So I went up, and I don't know if I watched the first show or I went right back into refereeing, but it felt like nothing had changed, like in me. Like physically, I remember going up and down doing the spots, and it's like, oh yeah, no, this is like a glove, except doing it on a monthly basis instead of an every week basis.
Did not having a personal investment the way you did at PPW, did that make you able to enjoy the scene again? Because there wasn't all the other stuff, all the work.
Define the scene when you mean that.
Well, okay, so you go to doing a show at PPW. You're invested in it on every level.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing all the editing and all the shit we talked about. But then going to Janesville, that's what the J in JWA is, correct?
Yep.
You're just going there to participate and be around everybody, and you're just there for that night.
Right.
Does that allow you to get lost in it more?
No, because whenever
So you like having that personal investment, like the really heavy sweat equity in the thing that you're doing.
Right. I don't know if I can get away from it. I think it's one of those things where, like, I look at everything that could go wrong as a car crash, and if I have the ability to prevent the car crash from happening, then I'm going to. You know, so it's kind of like
horrible, Dave.
It's like the off-duty cop.
That's
like
terrible, dude.
You know, like always on the lookout for things, and so I don't think like what I would say is I didn't lose enjoyment over that, but I think that's always there no matter where I'm at.
Yeah.
There's always a little bit of about that that always pops out of me, which makes me probably difficult to work with for some people. And I've avoided working certain places because of that. But there's a promotion I work with out of Woodstock called Northland Pro Wrestling. With those guys, I remember we did a show where I literally was like, let's talk about this finish to this main event. Like, this really, we should really talk about this for a little bit longer. And I remember being vehemently adamant about a finish and changed it. And
where did you get the audacity to even chime in on that discussion?
Just, that's where I am.
Who do you think you are, man?
That's where I'm at.
Well, it's good that you have some people's ears.
But I was right. I just want to point that out. Like, the finish went off, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's how that's supposed to." It's like, yes, that's how that's supposed to go. When you get into the business and you see the fundamentals of everything, when you see the roller coaster that everyone talks about, everything is a story being told, and if you are missing parts to that, or if you are going against what you're trying to tell, like, it's just you get lost, and it's not fun being a part of a lost story. If you're in the ring and there are two guys that aren't going to listen to you no matter what, you do the match, you do the best you can, but you clearly see it going wrong, there's no worse feeling in the world than going like, man, I could have seen that coming and I couldn't stop it. Worst feeling in the world.
I can't believe the balls, the sheer balls. It's good though, and now, so you're promoting a show, correct? Mm-hmm.
So
March 18th. Is this under the JWA banner?
Not under JWA. I'm working with Northlands Pro Wrestling on. They're helping me with a lot of this stuff. Okay. Super Pro Wrestling Entertainment, who does the audio video and kind of is a super company to JWA.
This is kind of a co-promotional.
Right. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of input from a lot of different places.
And are you booking it?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep.
So where is it?
It's in Kansasville, Wisconsin.
Okay.
At 1175 Sports and Eatery.
Give me the promo. Give me the.
So here's the thing. So could
I have served that up to you any more blatantly, David?
I see what you're doing,
David.
Here. So back in the day, PPW, Premier Pro Wrestling, was a bi-weekly company, and they had an off week where it was going to be Halloween weekend, and I said, hey, can I take that show? And what do you mean? Can I get the guys together that I want to get? Can I do the flyers? Can I put the matches together? I won't put them together, but like the matchups, like kind of book it, but not really. but can I do that? I said, yeah, if you want the responsibility for that, go ahead. So I made flyers. I made them look different. I, got out into the community as far as like Halloween show, blah, blah, blah. Made it work. And we became a weekly show after that. But that first show of the weekly time period, I did so much work for, and it felt so fulfilling. But it was kind of taken away from me in that it was like, well, yeah, but it was in the studio. It was with those guys. It was in the ring. They put, like, you didn't have a lot of input. It was a show. And that always stuck with me. It was a chip on my shoulder. Like, I put a lot of work into that one show. And I've always wanted to run my own. And I've always wanted to not have a promotion, but just say, like, look, I can do this, and I've done it. And I've been working with such amazing people. And I said, hey, let me see how many of these people I can get to band together, do something really cool and unique, have people try characters that they wouldn't normally be, and let's just have a fucking awesome show. So on March 18th, we're doing the Bash at 1175. It's a co-birthday event for me because it's kind of my birthday celebration.
Oh, that's right.
That's the thing. And me and my birthday celebrations, I always take them too far.
Like Clark Griswold.
Right. And so that's what we're doing. I've got, 30 people working now, not just wrestlers, but managers, light people.
Yeah, who's on the card? Tell me some of the. Who do you like?
The whole card.
Shit, he's getting his phone out.
I got to get the phone out because I think it's too early to say everybody. But I'm bringing in Ice Pick Vic Capri. I'm bringing Shelly Bombshell.
Love that dude. Love Vic Capri.
Chris Miller. A bunch of people. I'm trying to see who's confirmed. Adam Stallion, the AZZ guys. That's Austin, Hans, and Gonzo. Du Montgomery. Let's see. I've just got a lot of people. I'm missing people, but I've got unconfirmed people.
Kind of a who's who of Midwest.
I'm just a lot of cool up and coming people that are
sick, dude. That's so awesome.
We're just gonna have so much fun with it.
You got storylines and shit going into this, or is it like?
Not really. It's going to be character work. We're going to have promos, but it's a one-off, so it's just going to be good guys versus bad guys for the most part. It's a concert venue.
Sweet.
That we're doing it at, so it's not a bingo hall. It's not a VFW. It's not a high school gym. It's a concert hall, which means lots of loud noises and music.
Awesome.
Fozzy plays at the place. Trapped's play there. Like, I've got a bunch of random bands.
Trapped.
Yeah. It's just, that's who they hype there. Power Man plays there. I didn't even know Power Man was still a thing. I went to my first.
Are they?
I guess. I don't know. But so it's a concert venue that just rocks, and so it's not a huge venue, but it's gonna have our ring in it, and it's gonna be awesome.
That's fucking sick.
And it's gonna be loud, and I'm so excited for that. So
it's
gonna be a 21 and up show. We flirted with the idea of making it an all ages show, but like with what we want to do with just the in your face loud presentation, I just didn't feel comfortable with like having like 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds like, hey, put your earplugs in. Like it's gonna be great. I'm just super stoked for it.
I'm so proud of you. I can't even stand it right now. It's so sick.
It'll be good.
I always knew you would. So what's the reach goal then? You start running shows regularly?
Nope. Just the one-off. I just want to say that I did this. That's what a lot of people are like. They're like, oh, okay, so this is your first of. And I'm like, no, this is my first and only. I always help with things, right? I put flyers together, help with matches and stuff like that. I've seen every wrestling finish known to man after watching thousands upon thousands of hours, being part of different things and seeing why they do things. And so anyways, I don't foresee this being a permanent thing for me, but that never say never thing always creeps up, right, when people say that. So I'm always careful.
You're going to get a taste of it, and you're going to realize that you're good at it. And
remember that when I'm having the show in front of 8 people, and I'm like, where did I go wrong?
I don't know, man. You got a pretty sweet spot. Saturday night, like 21 and up. It's going to get rowdy.
I'm hoping it'll be fun. We've got the Eventbrite up. We've got some flyers going out. You were the first person outside of the insiders to see the first flyer. And
sweet. Oh yeah, you showed it to me when you got here.
Yeah, showed it to you.
Yeah, that's great.
I don't know, I'm
looks
stoked.
Awesome, dude.
That's half the people, and we got another half coming. And I don't know. I'm stoked about the whole thing. I told people
stoked for you, dude.
let's have fun. And there are people that I didn't ask to be on the show, whether it was because they had other promotions I knew they worked, or there were other conflicts. So I know that there were people that I was missing, but this is one of those things I asked people in person. I was like face to face, like, hey, are you down to have fun? Like, because that's what I'm doing. And it's like, yeah, let's do that. So that was important to me. Like, let's have the most amount of fun with the show as we can. But you see,
or you just don't want to bury anybody.
That too. Because you never know who you're going to have to work with. I know. But you never know who you're going to have to work with tomorrow.
Yeah.
You never know who you're going to be best friends with in 3 months. Because, again, like, I some of the closer friends I have right now, like, I didn't even talk to a year ago, like, in the business. Like, I would see them at shows, walk right by them, and talk to other people. And now those people I walked by and thought they were, thinking they were better than me, like, I have conversations with on the daily about things. And so, I don't know. I'm a unique person where you can drop me in a room and I'll get along with a lot of people.
Yeah, I've seen it.
But in this world, or in the wrestling world, that's not always a good thing. So
Right.
I'm always, and that's why I say I try not to bury people with too much. Talk about the good.
Cool.
Talk about the good.
Keeping it positive. I just wanted, a titillating headline. Dave Kleber stops in, and he's got some shit to talk.
No, that's not me.
Yeah,
that's not me.
Never been you. You're a good man. Give it to him one more time. What's the details for the 18th?
So March 18th, it's going to be doors at 7, show at 8, so it's a later show. So that way you can enjoy the fine facilities of the bar there. It's a nice bar. It's 1175 Sports Eatery up in Kansasville, Wisconsin. It's a highway-to-highway situation, so you take 94 north out of Chicago and head over on whatever exit it is, and you take that road all the way to the venue. Not hard to find. Nice place. Going to be a cozy event, but a lot of fun. I can't stress this enough. Expect a lot of fun happening inside the ring, and the crowd that we're going to have is just going to be rowdy. It's going to be one of those shows where I tell people all the time, if you've never been to a wrestling show, it's the one place you can yell pretty much anything you want, because that's the goal, is to tell the bad guys that they're bad guys. So
I love it.
It'll be fun.
Love it. Can't wait. Super happy for you. I love you. Maybe should we fizzle out the way we fizzle in and just talk about more Mark shit?
I mean, absolutely. I can always talk about Mark shit.
All right. Let me think. Who is your favorite British wrestler of all time?
Ooh, British wrestler?
The answer
Dynamite
is...
Kid.
Good answer.
What were you going to say?
Vic Faulkner.
Oh.
World of Sport.
True shooter.
Yes.
True shooter.
Making pretzels out there. That dude fucking rules. I was watching...
him in his prime versus Stu Hart.
All right. Good talk, Dave. Thanks for coming, man. Good luck with the show. The Bash at 1175 on March 18th at 1175 Sports and Eatery in Kansasville, Wisconsin. And me, I'll be at Teddy's for First Fridays on April 7th with Northwest Corner. And probably more stuff coming after that I'll let you know about next time. So until next time, keep it real and so forth, and I'll see you down the road. Thanks.